right. And so we're left with Brian here, CP3, and Davey. So we're gonna switch gears to hockey. Brian, I'm gonna let you say your thoughts on your Rangers team, and I will quickly say that I watched all those games, and I thought there was an incredible series. And I know we were very high on the Rangers in the last podcast. And things didn't turn out the way that we thought that they would. But Brian, any thoughts on the final couple of games for the Rangers?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely really disappointing, especially because they had a 2-0 lead in the series, a 2-0 lead in game 3, and then they just pretty much all fell apart in those last 4 games against Tampa. Last 3.5, really, if you include the fact they had a 2-0 lead in game 3. It really all just kind of fell apart for them. They couldn't score like a single even strength goal the rest of the playoff. I don't know what it was. They just could not score on even strength. Tampa just really stepped up their game. They got timely goals whenever they needed. They had an answer for almost every Ranger goal. I gotta say, I definitely don't like this Tampa Bay team, but you can see why they've won back-to-back Stanley Cups. They are a much more experienced team than this Rangers team, and it absolutely showed in this series. It's definitely disappointing to lose the series. That game 6 was definitely frustrating. They get the tying goal from Vetrano late, and then Stamkos scores almost right away to give Tampa the lead. And it just felt like all the air went out of the balloon from that moment. I don't really agree with them not playing Capo Caco in that 6th game either. I thought that was kind of a dumb decision by Gallant, the coach. The kids are what got them to this position, and I think to make a switch like that late, I think really, and to not even tell Kako about it and to just like bench him like that, I didn't think was cool at all from Gallant. And I think that definitely played into the mindset of the team for sure, but definitely frustrating overall. But at the end of the day, I mean, this was a great run by the Rangers. They have nothing to be ashamed of. They were down 3-1 to the Penguins. It didn't look like they were even going to get to this point, honestly. They were down 3-1 to Pittsburgh. They come back. They win that series. They win Game 7 in overtime on the Panarin goal. That was amazing. That was great. And then the Carolina series, down 2-0 in that series, down 3-2 in that series, and then to dominate Game 6 and 7 and win Game 7 in Carolina the way they did. I'm not going to forget this run for a really long time. Really, it was a special, great time to be a Rangers fan again. After a couple of really down years for the team, it almost feels like they're ahead of schedule. So, yeah, it's frustrating. I would have liked to have had them in the Stanley Cup Finals for sure. But I still a lot to be proud of at the end of the day. Thank you all for the support. I really appreciate that. That was really nice of you guys to support the Rangers like that, because I know the Caps and the Rangers don't necessarily get along.
I wouldn't do it, but I kind of felt like, you we're supportive of the Capitals on their big run that got us to the Cup.
Appreciate that.
And I wanted to pay that back to you. I don't usually root for the Rangers. Carol can attest to that. But I was rooting for them in this playoff run, especially for beating Pittsburgh. It was very simple. Once they did that, I felt like I owed them everything. So, so I was going to root for them until they lose. But Carol's shaking his head.
Sorry, man, I just couldn't do it, man. I just couldn't say, let's go. I can't even say it, man.
Yeah, Liz got mad at me every time I said it at our house. She's like, that just sounds wrong. I was like, no. And she's like, but the whole time you've always hated them. I was like, I know, but I'm rooting for them. I'm she was like, it's just weird. So yeah, I understand, Carol. It was difficult, but I did it for our friend Brian. So,
but it wasn't just you. There was a lot of people who don't normally like the Rangers that were very supportive during this playoff run, which I really appreciate. That was nice. So I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, hopefully they're back next year. I'm, like I said, very disappointed to not be in the Stanley Cup Finals, especially after having a 2-0 lead in that series. But, Tampa's the better team. They're going for 3 in a row. I really hope Colorado beats them, honestly, but they are a very experienced, very good team. And, we'll see if they get that three-peat. But, yeah, great run for the Rangers. Really nothing to be ashamed of. And, I'm proud of them at the end of the day for what they did this season.
For sure. Well, I know that we've kept you longer than we thought, so I'm going to let you go, Brian. But if anyone wants to check out your podcast, I will link all the information in the chat. Also, you go to sportsothp.com, click our Team SportsOTHP link. It's got Brian's bio with all of that information I just posted from the Stream Elements link right there on my website. But also, you can click the podcast partners button and get to all of his latest podcasts and stuff like that upon further review with Brian Brennan. But Brian, thank you for helping us break down the NBA, and I'm sure you'll be on with Carol next week to break down the rest of the finals.
Yeah, no problem. I just want to add like a couple, just some little parting shots. I hope the Rangers make Chris Kreider the captain next season. I think he deserves it. He had a great run through the playoffs. I hope they make him the captain. Yankees are on fire. They just won again tonight. They're 45-16 on the season now. 29 games over 500. So even without the Rangers, I'm in a good place sports-wise right now because this team's been great all season. And I didn't really get a chance to talk about soccer, but a great day for the MLS today, getting their media rights deal done with Apple Plus. I'm really excited for that. I think that's going to really help.
We didn't talk about that. That's
really
cool.
I really think that's going to really help grow the league. A lot of people are kind of annoyed about it, but I think having a centralized location like this for the league is going to be a really good thing. No blackout restrictions, which I think is huge. You can watch every game on Apple TV. I think that's great. I think it's going to be great.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm happy. I actually kind of like when hockey moved to ESPN Plus because I really like the app for it. And but
this is even different. There's going to be no blackouts at all. So
no, I know this is even better. So, but I'm just saying, they've proven the market works. If you can centralize it. And
definitely.
So I'm happy that they got a chance to do that. Well, thank you, Brian, for letting everyone know all the latest baseball news and hockey news and basketball and soccer. So we broke down 4 different sports. I appreciate you as always, Brian, and I look forward to you co-hosting with Carol all summer long. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Have a great rest of your night, guys. Have a great trip, Robbie. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Sounds good.
Take care,
see you
Brian.
guys. See you, man.
All right, Davey, I want to get your takeaway on the Tampa Bay versus the Rangers series before we move into the Cup final.
Well, I think I mirror a lot of Brian's points. What a great run for the Rangers. It's just like an incredible show of being a year ahead of schedule, really is what it is. But I think, what was it, Game 5? When they had that 2-0 lead, and then it just looked like they were clinging on for dear life in the third period. Trying to figure out what game that was, but that I felt like was the moment where I'm like, yeah, maybe they really are in and over their head in the end, but still, it was a really good fight, and I thought that going against a 2-time defending champion like 2-time defending Cup champion like the Lightning was an incredible run by the Rangers. You really can't frown on that. Like, yeah, surely the ending was disappointing, but it's not surprising. I mean, these guys are loaded offensively. There's so much good talent. Vasilevsky, when he's on, he can be amazing. You see plenty of him in the East.
I just can't believe they still had the energy in their tank after 3 deep runs like this. I just thought that it would run out at some point, but really at the end of that series with New York, it literally looked like New York was the team that was running out of fuel in their tank, and it's just been kind of impressive to see.
Right? Like, I think that had a lot to do with it. Like they've been through these kind of series, and this might be the first real run through a series this grueling for the Rangers. Granted, they did go 7 against Carolina, but I'm just saying, like, maybe after like a couple of those series, I don't know. I mean, it's a good point. Like a lot of people did not think Tampa Bay was going to get this far. A lot of people. They were not favored in many of these series. They in fact, I don't even think they were favored. I'm trying to remember. But when they played Florida,
I think Florida was favored, and the Rangers were both favored in both of those series.
Yeah.
So, and even in some way, the Toronto series.
What was that? They were in the wild card spot that they had them as a so-called underdog, but Tampa has they know how to win. Yeah. They built the win, but they definitely the Rangers, like I said, I think the youth, and then the chemistry not being quite there with Tampa having the experience factor, and knowing how to push it on and turn it on and flip it on when they need to. You know, I don't want to. I'm already going to warn already. I don't want Tampa to win 3. I'm rooting for Colorado in this series. I think Colorado was built to win, and I think they're definitely going to give Tampa a good test in the finals. Are they going to be able to, do it? I'm hoping, but depending on, like you say, Tampa looked like they were out of it at the beginning of the New York series, and then in the end of it, they had New York looking like they were out of it. So, do they still have that push to get to the mountaintop again? I'm not going to say they don't, but I'm hoping Colorado's one is going to be able to outdo their want to get that 3-peat.
I think to your point, CP3, Colorado's going to be a player. They are a significant favorite to win the series if you go by the Vegas odds, and for good reason. It's a really, really fast team. It's a deep team. The only real flaw they have is their goaltending, which is always shaky. But I'm very curious to see how this matches up with a team that's also really good offensively in Tampa Bay. So Robbie, if you were to, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, it's an exciting series. I think is what I'm getting at. I mean, I probably would pick Colorado, but there's something to be said about experience. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm curious about Carol's take on rooting for Andre Burakovsky again. As somebody who I was always a big fan of.
The thing that causes me issues now, Andre will possibly get a second ring, and Ovi only has one. But I can suck that up if Tampa doesn't win 3. I would rather him get a second ring than Tampa get a third in a row. So I'll take that one for the team.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's. I'm trying to look at it here. If the Avalanche win, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I'm super excited. I was looking at a picture earlier of Andre Burakovsky, and what was in the background of him? It was Ovi holding the cup on the press conference. So I was like, what a cool shot that was. I saw it was tweeted earlier today. I was like, that's got to be a pump up moment for him that he can turn around and see his friend, hoisting the cup, and he's got to be so excited to get to have a chance to do it again. And I hope for so much success for him and for that team. I just it'll be really interesting to see what happens next. But I'm picking Colorado, but it's going to be a tough matchup for sure because in the history. Tampa Bay. It's just so strange. I mean, dynasty is something that isn't talked about in hockey very often. Teams have repeated, but it hasn't been in our time as being a hockey fan where we've seen more than that. I mean, at least I can't speak for Carol, but I don't think you were a fan of the Islanders, way back when. But we haven't really seen even what I would consider the closest thing to a dynasty is the Detroit team that won back-to-back in the 90s, in the late 90s, where they swept 2 cups in a row, right? I mean, that is a dynasty in my mind, right? Because it's just like that's so dominant performance. But other teams have done it twice, but this would be a really special thing to do it 3 times. It just hasn't happened in a very long time. Davey, what are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, that's what my favorite thing about the series is just that the potential history that could be made with this team. And a lot of the same players are still on the team from their first cup run, or the first of this cup run. They did win in 2004, but it's very interesting to see how this is going to go. And Colorado's passed so many tests so far, leading into the series. It's just a very exciting team to watch. I'm not the greatest with the names, but you talk about guys like Nathan McKinnon and all the people on that offense. It's just a very exciting team to watch. So this will be really good. There's going to be, and if you want to talk about it from a gambling perspective, there will be incredible value on Tampa Bay every single game because it would appear from my vantage point they're going to be favored in the odds will definitely be favored in the 2 home games. But I'm curious as to what the odds are going to be when they get to Game 3, and I wonder where the series will be. It's a very tough one to predict. I don't know. My instinct is saying Tampa Bay because that experience is going to play a huge factor on this level when you get to the final. I don't know though. I don't think Tampa's really played this kind of offense yet, this kind of speed. So I'm wondering how they'll keep up with it. I'm
Yeah,
very,
they've
very
played
curious.
such different teams so far in this playoffs than the
Absolutely.
one that they're about to
Absolutely.
face. So here's why I think you're right, and I think Tampa Bay might win this series too. I've been going back and forth a lot, but it's just really interesting. The Avalanche haven't named their starting goaltender yet.
Yeah, that tracks though, right? It really does.
And they haven't done this all season where they like just
Yeah.
decide with a text message like right before, and that's like what they've done all year, and it's worked up to this point. But like I would rather go into a finals know who my starting goaltender is than not, right? Because if you just steal one game on the road and they're starting in Detroit, right? Or not Detroit, in Colorado. So for me, like if they just take one of those two games, that like changes the whole series. Carol, what are some of your thoughts on that?
It's definitely going to be an interesting series. I haven't watched Colorado closely. I've seen what they're able to do, score. They're fast, they're heavy. Like you said, the only intangible is the goaltending. You can just go by feel, if you got to go who you feel will give you the best chance to win. And, that's what the coaches decided to do. So, I mean, I'm really
they just score in bunches. They just like what I like to call avalanche of goals, right? They just score in these bunches of three, and they're like blah right there. And like teams sometimes struggle to score 3 goals in a whole game in the playoffs historically, right? Yeah. But like they could just do it in a moment, like in a period, in like a time, and it could be like in a 6-minute stretch. And I mean that series we haven't really talked about it. We talked about it last week a little bit, but they just like destroyed. It was surprising. I thought that series would be much closer with Edmonton, and they swept them.
One
like
thing I'd say to that is that Edmonton's goaltending is extremely shaky as well. So I think that the ability to score in bunches will not come as easily against Tampa Bay because Vasilevsky.
But they've done it in all the rounds. So it wasn't just a Edmonton thing. It's something that they've been consistent with.
See, that's going to be the key with Tampa's experience. See, what Colorado does is they jump on you and they take advantage because they know once they score, especially in the playoffs, that's going to make the other team like, okay, we got to answer. And then by them continuing to keep their foot on the gas and being over aggressive, they're forcing a mistake because they know they're pressing. They're going to try to get something going, and they jump on it. And they have great players that are accurate when they shoot, and when they get the opportunity, they take advantage of it. So that's going to be the key. And I think that's going to be the X factor with the experience with Tampa is they know how to answer when another team, even if they do get a 3-goal lead. I think the Tampa's built.
I think this is the potential to be a really high scoring series, though, right? Like, I mean, because that's the way that the Avalanche want to play. And like, if you just give a team with very poor defense and goaltending to Tampa Bay, they can put up some goals too. So, like, it's just going to be interesting to see who can lock down defensively, if that's even possible. And that's why I think in a high offensive game, I'd rather go with the goalie that I know who's been MVP caliber and can like steal a couple of games. I think that could become the difference in this series, but it's going to be tight either way. I think it could be very high scoring, but when we always predict high scoring, then it's going to become like a 2-1 thing, right? So like, who knows? Like it's hockey, it's all fluky. You can get high goaltenders at any times. But Davey, any final thoughts on this cup matchup before I talk about the schedule for the games?
Oh wow, yeah, this is gonna be I agree with everything you both have said. This is gonna be a great series. I mean, as for who I'm rooting for, I mean, probably Tampa Bay, but I'm not going to really be that disappointed if Colorado wins. This will be their first cup title in 19 years. That's an incredibly long time, especially for a franchise that you think is always like good, that they're always a playoff contender. They hadn't been for a while though, so they had some really lean years. So I think no matter who wins the series, it's going to be a really fun storyline, and I personally just hope it goes 6 games or more. And it really looks like it's set up to do that. Like you said, like there are deficiencies both ways, and you really could see either team just getting away with a game, and then you could see one game where it just goes back and forth and nobody can hold the other down. And I just see this being an incredible series.
For sure. Carol, any other takeaways before I get into the schedule?
No, I'm just anxious to see how it turns out. Like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight, so I'm gonna watch, just watch from the hockey fan perspective and see what happens.
You're not gonna root for either one
I mean,
of
I'm
them.
rooting for Colorado,
Yeah.
but I mean, if they don't win, it's really nothing. You know, I'm not going to be pissed off.
Some people are like, I can't have them go 3 or whatever, like really mad, and I don't feel that way.
I mean, if they do it, they deserve it, especially with the shortened seasons and the timetable they've done it in. You know, I just don't
all the COVID stuff. They've definitely gone through a lot of adversity.
I just don't want to give them credit if they do it. That's all. So I'd rather they not do it because then I have to give them credit.
Right, exactly. I appreciate that. So the upcoming schedule, I love hockey because they do all the games at 8:00, unlike basketball. They do them all at 9:00, which is very frustrating from an East Coast perspective. I get from Davey might like it a little bit later in California, but
I do.
From the East Coast perspective, 9:00 starts are late. You know, it's rough because it's over midnight. The games go to overtime, 1:00. You know, it gets pretty late here for sure. The first 2 games, Wednesday, June 15th at 8:00. So that's going to be tomorrow on ABC. And then the next game, they have a couple of nights off. And that game the first 2 are in Colorado. And so the second game will be at 8:00. I do think it's a huge advantage for Colorado playing at altitude, though, for those first 2 games. So it'll be interesting to see how these matchups go. The second game is Saturday, also at 8:00, which is a really brilliant primetime spot. And they were very smart to schedule this because that way they could, in theory, have game 6, before, and then game 7 afterwards, and ABC gets all of them, right? So like ABC did a good job of getting all these games. So that's pretty cool for both the NBA finals and the Stanley Cup finals. So those are going to be interesting. And then Monday, game 3 is 8:00. So Carol, you're going to be coming on an hour into a pivotal game 3, the first game in Tampa Bay. So that's going to be a really fun show. I'm kind of sad that, I'm not upset I'll be on vacation, but I'm sad that I'll miss that because I think that'll be a fun show for you to do, Carol, to talk about a live game between these 2 teams next week. And also recap the first 2 games as well. But Carol, any thoughts about doing a live watch along next Monday?
I'll give scoring updates, and if anything crazy happens, they get 3 goals in 5 minutes or something. I definitely keep it updated, but definitely going to try to keep the show quick moving and short and sweet. Nice.
I appreciate that. Won't have as many guests next week as you had this week for sure. Yeah, it's looking good. Davey, any thoughts on the schedule or any final thoughts before we let you go?
I can't think anything off the top, but I think the scheduling is pretty solid. I mean, I thought maybe they would be a strict every other day kind of schedule. I thought it was very unusual that they would not even know the schedule until the series were over. I did not realize that they had that kind of flexibility. I do not know if that's new, but it is interesting.
Well, it might have changed because ABC owns the rights to both, so they may need to do that to be able to schedule them, around each
finals,
other.
Right? The NBA finals. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, what a great week that's going to be for them. That's just like all ABC. It's going to be. I hope you don't want to watch anything else on ABC that week, man.
Right, exactly. Well, that's why they ended all their shows already. So that they were smart. Right, they were like, they've already done their season finales and stuff like that. So, which is smart. But awesome. Well, Davey, I'll do your command in chat one more time, but give a little, let our listeners that are on the audio side of it know what you do on your show and any final thoughts before we let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eva, welcome in. It's good to see you. Our fellow sports fan friend, also a great pianist. I host a show where I interview other content creators on Twitch. We've had Robbie on. It's been a great spot. And it tends to gravitate toward musicians, but it's not exclusive to that category. We're happy to have anybody from the Twitch world on. And in between those interview shows, we do other things. We play video games. We have food tastings. We're getting new ideas all the time. We've been asked. I've been had a really good suggestion to do an Oreo tasting stream, and I think that's a terrific idea. So that'll probably be in the pipeline too. So, well, you can catch us on Saturday. We're gonna be part of a community event called Dinosaur Stream Fest, which is organized by Danielle Allard, who's over on Twitch, an amazing musician, and she organizes this community event called Dino Stream Fest. So it's a stream fest, whereas unlike like a specific category of gamers or musicians, it's kind of a mix of both. And Ryan will be on it too. So both of us will be representing as part of Dino Stream Fest on Saturday. It should be really fun. Hope you all can be there to support. Um, if you're, oh, the comment in chat, Ryan, pianist.
Yes.
Exactly, Ryan. An Oreo is a sandwich cookie. It even says it on the package. I can prove it. I have one right here.
It's true. It's very on brand for Davey is eating a sandwich. So,
but anyway, thank you again.
Yes, for sure. I appreciate you for joining us. I'm happy that we were able to get you on with our move to Tuesday. And I always enjoy being on your show and having you on, whether we talk Olympics or NBA finals, all the biggest events around the world. So I appreciate it. And we'll definitely do a collab when I come back in the fall for sure. And I hope that you have a wonderful summer. And I'm sure I will see you around the Twitch sphere, and have a great night.
And have a great trip, Robbie. We're so happy for you, and kudos to you for having a good vacation planned.
Thank you. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll chat with you soon, Davey. All right, Carol, we're gonna get into some Mystics talk. Let me just switch up our. I swear I have a screen for it. There it is. And yeah, let people know what's happening in the world of the Mystics over the last week.
Yeah, it was the 2-1 week. They were sitting at 9-6 after the victory tonight. They're at 10-6 now, still third in the East. They're 5-5 in their last 10. First game of the week was an 84-82 win over the Chicago Sky. Ariel Atkins had 19 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. Candace Parker was held in check, if you want to say that. 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Mystics were up by 5 at half. Then they got outscored by 7 in the third, but they held up in the fourth quarter by outscoring. In the fourth quarter, 25-15 to hold on to the lead. And earn the victory. If you recall, last game that they played against Chicago, Candace Parker had a triple-double on them. So, and they won, I believe, by 10. So it was another scrappy game, but they were able to prevail and win by 2. Next game was at Minnesota. They pretty much blew them out from the jump. It was a 76-59 victory. Maisha Hines Island had a season-high 17 points, added 6 rebounds and 2 assists. Jessica Shepard had 5 points, 15 rebounds, and 1 assist from Minnesota. They had a 11-point lead at half and didn't look back. They held Minnesota to 31 points combined in the second half. And the last game of the week, which was Sunday, I believe, to the Phoenix Mercury of last week, that is, was Phoenix Mercury was a 99-90 overtime loss. Maisha Hines Allen followed up with that season high performance with another great performance, putting up a double-double and improving on her season high. She scored 18 with 10 points, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Skylar Diggins-Smith fueled the Phoenix. She had 27 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. They led by 7 after 1. Then they were down by 1 at half, and it was a neck and neck going into the overtime, and they were outscored in the overtime. They were held to 5 points. They gave up 14 and took the loss 99-90. And the game tonight,
I have tonight's stats if you want.
All right, go right ahead, Rob.
There we go. That's why we're a team, bud. So the Mystics in the first quarter outshot the Mercury 21-19. In the second, they outscored them 23-15. In the third, outscored them 21-17, and in the fourth, outscored them 18-14 for end up being a dominating 83-65 win with DeShields being the leading scorer for the Mercury. And it looks like it was Austin. Is it Sharika Austin? No, Shakira Austin. Sorry. And she had 16 points, and Atkins had 13. Clark had 11. Deladon had 7. and 3 rebounds. And then Austin had, I didn't even see this, had 10 rebounds in that game as well. So, and Williams had 10 points off the bench. So just a pretty solid win. So they were able to come back and, after losing to Phoenix, they had both of these games at home, actually. So it was a sort of a home stand 2-game set against Phoenix. And upcoming games are at New York at 7, and then Sunday, Connecticut. It's a 2:00 game. That's another home game. So it's a Sunday afternoon game if you guys want to go check them out at home. People are raving about that stadium. They really seem to like it. And a lot of famous people are actually at the games lately. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter. So you should go check them out. The Mystics, they've been up and down, but they won 3 out of their last 4. Again, at New York at 7. And then the Connecticut Sun is that home game on Sunday. So Carol will break those 2 next week. Carol, any thoughts on the win tonight?
Like you said, it was impressive to see them, bounce back after the overtime loss and, have a, dominant performance against them. They're still currently in 3rd. They started out strong. They fell to 4th place, but other teams are playing well also. So they just have to continue to play well, and hopefully Elena Deladon will be back soon. She, I think it's I don't know if it's a knee or ankle or something that she has a lingering injury. It might even be a shoulder. I can't even remember, but she's been playing off and on, and other players have been stepping up. But definitely need her leadership out there on the court for them to be successful.
For sure. Any thoughts on the upcoming schedule?
Since they started out the week good with this win tonight. You said they got New York.
New York, they lost to on Friday, June the 3rd in a close game, 74-70. So I know that they're going to want a rematch because that game was in Washington.
Yeah, they definitely looking to get back from that loss. I think that was when they had 2 losses. That was one of them a couple weeks ago. And then facing Chicago again, they've been playing them tough. Like I said, Candace Parker had a triple-double the last game, and she had 19.
No, they're playing Connecticut for the second game.
Connecticut?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Connecticut Sky.
Yeah.
I mean, Connecticut Sun.
Right. Yeah. They also lost to Connecticut 79-71 back on May 28th. So it's 2 opportunities to avenge losses in these 2 games.
Yeah, so, hopefully they could continue the success they starting the week out with, and hopefully can go 3-0 and move up some position in the East, because it's still close, and they're not too far out of first place. I think it's only like maybe 2 games or a game and a half. I'm not even sure after tonight's results, but yeah, they're definitely in a position where they can, get in position to make the playoffs and see if they can duplicate that 2019 run.
For sure. The fat guy is a big hockey fan. Is talking to me in chat. I'm so still torn on that series that Colorado won and Tampa Bay. I understand. I want to pick Colorado because I want them to win, but I just feel like Tampa Bay has just been so good. I don't know. Carol, did you pick one in the I don't even remember if you picked.
Yeah, I'm going with Colorado.
You're rooting for them, but you think they're going to win?
I think with the run that they went on, the way they've been playing, shutting down Edmonton like they did, I think they they got the offensive, they faced a tough offensive opponent with Edmonton and pretty much, held them down. Now they got the experience factor. So I think that this could be their year to, get the cup. I don't know, Tampa's favorite. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they did find a way to win 3, but I'm rooting for Colorado. I think they have.
I think Colorado is favored in this.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just because of where they fell, President's Trophy wise, and just because Tampa came in as the wild card, it's the same way the Capitals came in.
That's true.
Top, and Vegas was playing so well, and they had Vegas as the favorite. So
I think these first 2 games tell you everything. I think if Colorado can play well at home and have that atmosphere, both in pressure and in atmospheric pressure, affect them. If they can win the first 2, I think Colorado wins the series. But if Tampa Bay can go in there and sneak and win one of these 2, I think Tampa Bay will ultimately win it maybe in 7. So
that's a very valid point. Tampa smells blood. They definitely want to go for the jugular to get that 3rd title secured and get some rest, because like you said, they've been playing a lot of hockey these last 3 years. So yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting series. And on a baseball note, almost had a no-hitter. Miles Malakas of St. Louis took a no-hitter into the ninth. And unfortunately, with 2 outs in the ninth, he gave up the no-hitter, but he tossed a one-hitter and against the Pirates, and they still won. But they almost had a no-hitter. But yeah, that would have been cool, especially since it's not against us.
Yeah, Davies and EFAC are making some good points. Davey in chat was saying it's a really good speed versus speed matchup, and they have people that can make sick passes on the ice. And Ryan, the EFAC guy, said that he thinks that Kucherov will be the best player on the ice, but Colorado will win with their depth, which, I think that's all very logical. That they have 4 really good lines. So I think that could wear them down, but it'll be an exciting series. I'm kind of sad that I don't get to break it down with you, Carol. I'll definitely be watching it, and I'm definitely will be chatting with you through Messenger, but I know that you guys will get it covered. You and Brian will talk about it, I'm sure, next week, and talk some NBA and some baseball as well. But yeah, people on my Twitch channel are also on facebook.com/SportsOTHP. They'll have to go over to Carol's Facebook page or his Twitch channel, which I'll give a shout out here as well. You can check that out on his channel as well next week.
I still got to figure that stuff out, bro.
I know. He's not active in chat over there. So, but if you want to watch it, it's a good place to watch it. I'll put it that way. And but yeah, I mean, Carol, it's been fun. I can't believe we're 274 down. I think we're already in double digits now in this here season 7. So this is episode 10, I believe, now of season 7. It's been fun. I appreciate you and Brian and the rest of the team taking over for the next 3 months and get some time at the pool and hanging out with the wife, and we've got on a lot of trips. But if people want to keep up with me, definitely check us out on social media. I'll be making movies. I'll be doing lots of content. I'm sure I'll also be on the page making posts every once in a while and updating our website, sportsothp.com, with all of Carol's great videos and content as well. But Carol, any final thoughts before this is the last time we do a show for a bit?
Quick, I guess we might as well touch on all the sports. Commanders news. I know everybody's seeing that Terry McLaurin hasn't reported to the mandatory off-season workout this weekend. And a lot of folks are upset, thinking that he's gonna, he's not going to sign, he's going to hold out. Yeah, he's going to get traded, all this and that, because they drafted a wide receiver in the first round. Just remember last year, John Allen didn't sign his extension till like right before training camp. Ron Rivera came out today and said, they're making progress. You've seen reports and they're far apart and yada, yada, yada. You have to remember the wide receiver market blew up this offseason and nobody expected. You got folks like Christian Kirk making $22 million a year, who's really, had flashes but hasn't done anything consistently. And then you had a likes of Terry McLaurin that's had 8 different quarterbacks but still averaging over 1,000 yards receiving the season 2 years back to back. So it's there's a lot of things to be considered, especially with the cap situation, with them picking up Wentz. They got the relief from Landon Collins' contract on the 1st of June, so that's $11 million that got added to the books. So they're about $18 million over the cap right now. The way it's looking, he's going to be scheduled to make between $20 million and $24 million a year. They're probably trying to figure out the guaranteed money, which helps with the cap because then it doesn't affect your salary cap. The cash doesn't count against the cap, that is. So they say if he gets a 10-year, $200 million contract and they give him $80 million guaranteed, so that'll be a 10-year, $120 million contract. So it'll be $12 million a year as opposed to $20 million a year when you get the money guaranteed up front for the folks who don't know or understand the way that works. So be patient. You got 6 weeks till training camp. Coaches,
do you want to address the fact that one of our coaches no longer has Twitter anymore?
No, I mean, I spoke about it a little bit. Honestly, I don't feel like my opinion is he made a tweet on Twitter. He wasn't representing the organization. He was representing as a private citizen. They asked him a question at the OTAs and it addressed it. So that's how the organization got involved in it. And that's how he was able to get fined, because they asked him a question. My personal opinion, Just because he has an opinion that I don't agree with, it doesn't make him racist. It doesn't make him whatever. It's just his opinion. And I don't know where this sentiment comes from that we're all supposed to agree and all supposed to feel the same way. And if somebody says something that you don't agree with, oh, they're racist, oh, they're this, oh, they're that, they need to be fired, they need to be canceled. No. We're human beings. We have different opinions from different experiences and different point of views. Do I agree with what he said? No. But that's his right to say that from his private account on a social media platform. So, I mean, everything else, y'all can, yell, cuss and fuss, he's racist, and, oh, it's what about Black Lives? You're getting too complicated. This is about football. He did something on his personal account. People didn't like it. Define, cool, they get into the Capitol Police. To me, it was all politics. It's to appease the fan base and appease the people that want to be offended and butthurt because he had an opinion that they don't like or he said some words that hurt their feelings. The society's become soft. Now, if somebody's saying something that you don't even know that has no impact on your life and it hurts your feelings to the fact where you gotta feel they need to be fired because they said something that is inappropriate and you find offensive, take a step back and look at yourself in the mirror. Because I guarantee you, on your way to work, you done cussed out so many different people, called them so many different slurs or stereotypes, and because you didn't tweet it out, don't make it right. You have your opinion. You're free able to say that. He should be able to free to say his opinion. And that's all I'm gonna say about it on this show.
For sure. All right. Well, I think we've done enough. I have a friend who's doing an 8-hour stream, and I think I want to ironically rate him at the very end of his crazy long stream. I think that would be a fun way to end the night. But Carol, we've had a great show tonight, so I won't do like a post show that I sometimes do here live on Twitch. I'll just rate over. But any final thoughts, Carol, before we go?
No, as always, appreciate y'all checking us out, tuning in as always. Check out the website, SportsOTHP.com, for the apparel, for the podcast partners, for all the shows, highlight videos. And when Robbie gets a chance to update it with him and jet setting kids, has already been on the plane more than me in the last 10 years, probably. And he'll update it when he gets the chance. And just appreciate y'all. As always, tune in next week. You're in the market for a new or used vehicle. Come on down to the Waldorf Honda 2450 Crane Highway. New credit, no credit, low credit. Just give me a chance to earn your business and get that deal done for you, because that's what I do. Always check out At the Bar Radio every Sunday. If you checked out the show this past week, we had a gun trainer. Excuse me. We discussed had the gun debate with someone in the industry. She was telling me about personal safety and the classes that she does and concealed weapons permits and everything. So make sure you check us out. We always talking some cutting edge stuff, bringing you the best entertainment news, independent music, sports, politics, whatever you want. We got it covered. And as always, I'm in my feed with I'm gonna do one of the little renegade kick. He down in Houston doing big things, making some connections, getting some things lined up. Man, it works for a new video. We got some other stuff lined up. So be on the lookout. As always, DC Sports without the politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do. CP3 and Robbie G, we out. Catch you next time.